Hey guys, it's Madison Beer, and this is my Ask Anything chat with most requested live at iHeartRadio. My new single is called Reckless, and I want to say thank you so much to Romeo for having me on the show tonight. And with that being said, let's get started and answer some of these questions. Okay. Abby from Argentina says, do you think that MB2 is different sonically than life support? Can you please give us a hint? Hi, Abby. To answer that without giving too much away, I think that it's significantly different, but I do think it transitions into the new album really nicely, going from Selfish to Reckless to the new stuff. It feels like a really natural transition, so I'm very excited for you guys to hear. And yeah, I feel like it's evolving in a really beautiful and exciting way. So thanks for your question. Stephanie from Georgia said, if you had to have a theme song play whenever you entered and exited a room, what would it be and why? That is very hard for me to narrow down one song to play every time I entered and exited the room. I would say for dramatic effect, let's use the Evil Morty theme song, which if you're not familiar with it, give it a Google. But yeah, not that I align myself with Evil Morty, but I think that'd be a on-brand choice. Kelsey from Newcastle says, your openness with mental health has helped so many of us, and I truly cannot thank you enough for that. I was wondering how you got so comfortable with being able to openly speak about your personal struggles. Hi, Kelsey. That's really sweet of you. I definitely think I have been in I don't want to say the nicest way possible, but in the most, transparent way possible, a bit desensitized to being public about things on social media. I mean, I do still really value my privacy, and I try to keep certain things private that I want private to remain so. But I think that being on social media since I was 11 and being like public with my life since I was 12 has made me quite desensitized to things. So it's gotten easier for me to open up about things because I feel like my connection with my fans is continuously growing. And I feel like I'm inclined to sharing like personal struggles because I read through a lot of things that, you guys say. And it got to a point where I felt like a lot of people were telling me things that they were going through, and I was relating to a lot of them and then was hesitant to open up or didn't open up. So I feel like a lot of it stems from me wanting to also relate to you guys and show you that you aren't alone in these things, because there were definitely nights of, the past couple of years where I've been really alone, feeling really down and miserable and depressed and lonely, and I never took it to social media because that wasn't my instinct. Not saying that you should, but a big reason that I do is because I don't want anyone out there who might have those nights and feels that way to not think that like I have felt that too. Does that make any sense? Sorry. I don't know. I feel like I just wanted people to know that they weren't alone, and also just share my experiences and hope that maybe someone can gain something from something I've gone through. And I also just like hate the idea that so many people think that like just because you see like 0.1% of someone's life on social media, which might seem like all great, that's the reality, because it's never true in any case. So yeah, I just do what I can to try to like be honest whenever I can, and at my comfortability level, I feel like I try my best to like, set my boundaries with what I want to talk about, but also be open with you guys as much as I can. And yeah, it's really nice having you guys there for me, and I hope that I can in some way do the same thing for you. Beth from Nashville said, if the answer on Jeopardy was Madison Beer, what was the question? I mean, I'm sure my fans would say, like, singer who's obsessed with Fight Club and Rick and Morty and is a Pisces. That would probably be the answer. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna go with that. I also love Jeopardy. Jessica from New Orleans said, the people of Earth have decided that they are going to send out one Madison Beer song into space for the aliens. You've been chosen to pick out the song. What song would it be? I think it would have to be Selfish. Just, it's my baby. It's my pride and joy. So I'm gonna go with Selfish, and I hope that they thoroughly enjoy it. Sorry if I say your name wrong. Violetta from Queens says, can you tell us a little bit about your early years starting out? Did you travel far away for tour? Um, sure. To summarize, I guess the past 10 years, I was 12 when I got discovered and I got signed and started very early in my life. I, went through a lot in those times. I was also dropped by my label, everyone, when I was like 16, and I had to make the decision of whether I wanted to continue to pursue music or not, which obviously I chose to continue to. So yeah, it was a very trying time in my life. I think it was really hard because as I was like learning, getting to know myself from 12 to 22, I also was, being picked apart on the internet, and I was, being like told what I should be, what I shouldn't be, everything that was wrong with me, everything that was right with me, and so it was a lot growing up, but I definitely wouldn't change anything for the world. Do I think there were certain things that I shouldn't have been exposed to or gone through when I was so young? Yes, but I also, you know, I sit here in front of you today and I'm proud of the person I am. So I don't know. It's definitely weird, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to like explain it without sounding too like morbid. But to answer your question, I didn't really have to travel far away. I moved to California from New York when I was like 13, 14. That was obviously a big move, but it was fun and I loved it, and I enjoyed. I think it was really really cool to move to LA. Sorry if that answer was sad for no reason. William from the United Kingdom said, "What's your favorite lyric from Reckless?" I feel like this answer has changed a lot. It always is gonna, but I really like the whole second verse. I think that those lyrics are great. I also just love the ending. I'm so sorry if you can relate. I think that that lyric ties the whole story in really nicely because it kind of goes off the assumption of if you made it through the whole song and if you listen to it, you probably can relate to it in some capacity, which I really liked that. Hence why I said it. So yeah, I really like the last line and I really love the second verse. I love all the lyrics, but specifically those. CG from Romania says, in what way did life support change your life? I think life support was really, really important for me to learn from. I think that it was, it's my first album. I feel like it was hard because I was supposed to get it out so long ago. And then obviously with everything that's gone on, it got pushed back a lot, which then gave me time to sit with these songs even longer. And I don't know, it was definitely an odd situation for an album, but I feel like it has taught me a lot and it's set me up really, really nicely for my ability to create this second album, which I'm like so, so proud of. So I think that life support changed my life because it gave me a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight and a lot of courage to like write certain things. And also it was like, testing the waters with you guys of what you guys were attracted to, what sound you guys were into. Like I was able to really go in and kind of like watch all of that analytically. So definitely helped me in a lot of ways move forward. Marty from Miami, Florida says, how do you write about internal struggles without crossing a line into it being triggering? That's a really good question. That's something that I feel like I've definitely had to figure out. I create a really safe space around me, and I make sure that the people who I'm writing this music with are receptive to like everything I'm saying, that we're all on the same page, that I feel safe, that I feel heard, that I'm ready to talk about certain things. I feel like there are things that I've wanted to write about that I'll try to, and I just won't be able to. It won't feel right because I'm like not at that place mentally or like in my healing process. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ready to open up about these things on social media, even in my writing. It just can be really overwhelming for me. So I would actually raise that point to your question of like, there are things that I write about that have really been therapeutic for me, that are really helpful, but it's also okay if there are things that I am not yet ready to share. And I think that's like a really important thing to note when you're discussing like the healing process, and especially like being open about mental health things, is that you are the only person who gets to decide like when you want to talk about things, when you want to open up publicly about things, or even just internally to your friends, your family, and to yourself. Like I feel like it's really important to note that you don't need to force yourself to face anything if you're not ready to. And patience with yourself is really, really important. That's something that I've like had to learn and figure out. Because I feel like when I started going back into therapy and I started like really doing deep dives on myself and whatnot, I was like, oh, we have to figure out this and this and this. And I was like, let's take it one issue at a time and let's like, work through these things at my own pace. So that's important to note as well. But it can be triggering to talk about things. I should make sure that I feel safe with the people who I am talking to them about. But it's still something that I'm figuring out how to do. So yeah, just trying to take my time with it. Chloe from Los Angeles says, how did it feel when you got nominated for a VMA? It was crazy. I posted a little journal entry the day that the nominations came out because I was super excited at the thought of being nominated. And about a week or two prior to them coming out, I was kind of going around to all my friends and I was like, manifest for me. And I was saying it in more of a silly, joking way because I didn't actually think that it was possible I would get a nomination in any capacity. So I was like, yo, like everyone manifest for me. Like, I want to get a nomination. And then I kind of started to feel like I was putting too much stake in it. And I was putting a lot of my self-worth in whether I was going to get a nomination or not. So I wrote a journal entry to kind of let go of that. And I was like, it doesn't define you as much as it would be really cool and really awesome to get the like acknowledgement. It doesn't define you, and it's okay if you don't get one. You've had this stuff happen before, whatever. So I literally wrote a journal entry reminding myself that it is okay if it doesn't happen. And it did. And it was just like, it was insane. And I'm really, really grateful to, just get the recognition. It really means a lot. And I've never been nominated for anything, so it's very cool. And I'm very appreciative to MTV and the VMAs for giving me my first ever nomination. Megan from, not sure how to pronounce this place, not going to even try, says, who is your mentor? Hi, Megan. I hope you know which Megan I'm talking to. Who is your mentor? I would say my mentor is, it changes a lot. I feel like I would say my mentor like currently is my therapist. I feel like she's really like inspiring and helps me out significantly. But probably my friend Lena. She's like been the most supportive, uplifting, special person I've like ever had in my life, and I'm really, really grateful for her. So I would say she's kind of my mentor. She's who I lean on the most. She's who I go to for everything. It feels like she knows my brain better than I do sometimes, and she really helps to like talk me off of any ledge that I might be on. She helps me like, feel good about myself. She gives me a lot of inspiration. I could ramble about how much I love her all day, but she's definitely someone who has been really impactful on my life. So that's my answer. Maria from White Lake says, is there a venue that you've been dreaming to perform at? I always say this because Madison at Madison Square Garden would be really cool. So MSG, I'm also from New York. So of course that has always been my dream. So yeah, Madison Square Garden is the dream. Rita from Charlotte, North Carolina says, what is a memory from your childhood that will always make you smile? I'm not sure. That's hard. Probably just like thinking about times that me and my little brother, were just like building pillow forts in my room and just being kids. I feel like every kid obviously takes those times for granted because you don't know what it's like to be an adult who can't just sit with their sibling and make pillow forts all day. But it definitely will always make me smile just thinking about how like blissful and young we were, and we didn't have a care in the world other than like, let's make sure we have the right size pillow to hold this fort down right now. So it always makes me smile to think of times that I was able to spend with him because I love him very much. Kim from Detroit says, can my dog Jeremy be best friends with your dog Bowie? Of course, Bowie would love a new friend. Nicholas from Los Angeles said, do you see yourself getting involved with acting since you co-direct your own music videos? Yeah, I definitely do. I've always wanted to act in some capacity, so I would love to. I would love to also direct movies and go into that entire world like full blown. So maybe in a couple years you can expect a directorial debut from me, and maybe I'll star in it. Yeah, there's a girl named Britt Marling, and she's really amazing. She directed, starred, and writes. She did the Away on Netflix. She's done a bunch of stuff, and she's ridiculously talented, and I look up to her a lot. So I would love to be somebody like that. Penny from Columbus, Ohio said, "Who taught you how to drive?" I actually taught myself how to drive, I would say. I don't admittedly, I stole my dad's car when I was younger, when I was like 12, and I drove it to my friend's house, and I was like, I guess we're learning how to drive today. But no, I obviously, my parents taught me actually how to drive, but I did take my dad's car when I was younger for a little spin. Anna from Fort Worth, Texas said, "What household chore do you dislike?" You know what? It's actually really funny. I don't dislike any household chores. I really enjoy cleaning. It's very therapeutic for me, and it like calms me down. So I really enjoy cleaning. I think like having a puppy is different. So that's maybe I don't enjoy cleaning up after Bowie, but I like cleaning in general. I think it's really fun. Mel from Memphis said, "Is there a piece of concert merch that if you were a fan that you would buy at one of your shows?" I think that I love hoodies, and so I think that I would definitely buy one of the hoodies that have all the tour dates on the back. I think that's a staple to have in your closet. Steph from Raleigh, North Carolina said, "Who cuts your hair?" I have my hairdresser who I only let her cut my hair. I have definitely taken scissors to my own hair, and it's not a good idea, so she cuts my hair, and she cuts my bangs too, and like we actually always end up cutting my bangs shorter when we're on like a photo shoot or music video. I'm like, why don't we cut my bangs? She's like, okay, and so these are grown out now, but usually we cut them like all the way up to here, so maybe next time you guys see me I'll have bangs again. Ari from New York City said, "When was the first time you were recognized outside of the States?" You know what? I actually, funny enough, have a really vivid memory of this. I landed in Johannesburg, and there was like 2 fans at the airport, and I was so confused because they were like waiting for me, and I was probably 15. And I was like, I don't know if this was the very first time, but this stands out like really vividly in my memory. And I was so confused because they were looking at me and I was looking at them and I was like, there's no way those people are waiting for me. And then they came up to me and like asked me for a photo, and I was like, how do you even know me? I was like so taken back. It was a really sweet experience though, and they were so nice. We ended up talking for like hours, and yeah, it was really cool, but I was definitely not expecting it. I don't know if that was the very, very first time, but that was one of the first times. And it was also just because I was so far away. I was like, how do you know me? I feel like I don't, no one knows me. I was like very, very confused, but also very honored and taken back. It was very sweet. Lanes from Denver said, "What is in your junk drawer?" I try not to like have a junk drawer in my house because I did at my old apartment, and it just was like vile, quite honestly. It was just so much random stuff that like nobody would ever need ever. So I try to, if I like start accumulating a junk drawer, which usually ends up being my nightstand drawer, I try to go through it at least like once a month and just sift through and be like, okay, we don't need this, we don't need this. But I also have issues holding on to things. And I'm like, well, what if there's one time in 8 months that there's a moment I do need this, and then I'm like, well, that's a reason to hold on to it. So I try to not do that, and I try to go through my junk drawer and get rid of it. But yeah, that is my answer, and that also completes our questions. So I just want to say thank you guys for all your questions. I love you all, and thanks again for watching my Ask Anything chat with Romeo and Most Requested Live. My new single is called Reckless, and I will see you guys out on tour, on the road, really, really soon. I cannot wait to hug you and sing with you and see you. It's going to be so much fun, and I love you guys so much.